Welcome to the empowering world of Soultalk. People do not remember you for what you are. They do not remember you for what you do. They do not remember you for what you say to them. People remember you for how you make them feel. The following are how people want to feel: beautiful, confident, courageous, clever, feeling they are the best, good-hearted, helpful, lovable, loving, reasonable, special, strong, trustworthy, understanding, wise. Soultalk has motivational programs which bring out the best in people. The programs bring out all of the above qualities that have been mentioned in any human being. These programs have proven results for over 15 years among the youth, students, parents, teachers, university lecturers, managers, civil servants, the police, prison warders, prisoners, soccer players, churchgoers, farmers, and nurses. Other activities include leadership development, team building, diversity management, organizational enrichment, shared values, and coaching. Behind these dynamic and empowering programs is me, Mike Mwendane. And that's because I am committed to help change mindsets and help people to value themselves, to take responsibility, and to leave a legacy behind them. This is a master system that explains response, the process of response, as response takes place in every human being. And this is indisputable because, maybe you can have your modifications, but there is a stimulus. The stimulus is actually the circumstance. That is what stimulates you to stand up and go and do something about what is facing you. This is what you must understand. It is a situation at hand that you are facing. Now, how it actually works in more detail now. And what is the process and what is the outcome? Now, each line there represents a stimulus, a process, and an outcome. The second line represents the same thing as well. And I'm simply enriching and expanding what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we just had question, and then the beliefs, meaning, attitude, action, behavior, and destiny. But in that process, you find that there is a meaning outcome at every stage. This is what I'm dealing with here. Now, you find the situation at hand, which is what you are facing, the circumstances that you are facing. It can be poverty, it can be study, it can be what someone swearing at you or someone doing something good towards you. And then your mind will question. It starts with a question. What is this? Why does it want to know? Because it wants to deal with it. So it will search among its files whether that image or that idea exists in the mind. Because it may well happen that it doesn't exist. And if the mind finds that it does not exist, like that so-called Bushman in the film, The Gods Must Be Crazy, the coke does not exist in the mind. So when it questioned what is this, it didn't find anything. But the mind will always try to improvise. It will use other references, other files, to try to explain what this is. So the question is for that. Then there's a question, which is what and why. And then the focus now will be on the file in that cabinet, in that filing cabinet. That is where the focus is. That is the outcome of the first stage. And in the second stage, it is the focus, it is the file now, again, the focus on the file, because it has found it in the mind. That is the situation at hand. And the file opens. Clicked upon by the question, it opens. Now that is where you find the references. You need references to be able to deal with what is at hand. So that's where we're going to find the references in the file. They are nowhere else. They are there in the file. And then imagination now steps in, kicks in. The imagination wants to know where it is going to, where you are going to, where you can go to. So it will create this picture, this vision for you. There's imagination. Now you are searching for meaning in the beliefs. What do these beliefs mean? And then you get direction and guidance from the beliefs, and that direction is what we are dealing with now. And the direction will point out the values now. What are the values? In other words, what are the important things to you that will actually fulfill your needs, whether they are material, intellectual, emotional, or spiritual? What are these values? In order to avoid pain and to gain pleasure. That is the work of the subconscious mind. That is the basic work of the subconscious mind. To help you avoid pain and to gain pleasure. And then you've got now an assumption or perception. That's what you get now. Now, that perception grouped together with these others, you get any one of these. If the facts are stable, then you'll get a fact, or you'll get a guess, or you'll get an opinion, or you'll get an assumption, or a notion, or a perception. But because all these are classed together, we call the meaning. What you perceive, the meaning that you get, that is what you're faced with at that stage. And then you develop attitude now. You must know how you feel towards this thing. That's where attitude comes in. It can be fear or desire. These are the basic feelings. Fear of that, fear and what? Pain. Desire and what? Desire and pleasure. So within that range, you are going to get, you are going to make a choice, any decision. And now you are faced with a decision. What do you do? It's time for action. Once you take action, now after action at this, it will be action, behavior, and the consolidation of your character. And then you are going to reach your destiny. That is the master system at work in your life. And once you realize that, then you know where you are. A map tells you where you are and where you're going to. So that is the map, therefore, of response. Because it tells you where you are, if you understand it, and it tells you what to do, and it tells you where you're going to end up. Now, that is what gives you certainty. Because when you have attitude, I begin to dislike you. I must go back and find out why do I dislike him? And then I say, yeah, no, because he's a bad guy. Where did I get this information from? You see, all these thoughts happen here, right here. Where did I get this information from? No, I got this information from Neo. Okay, and what do I know independently about him? No, there's nothing I know. What must I do now? I think I must reach out to him myself and become independent and get the information about him myself and the insights about him myself, so I can make my own decision whether this guy is good or not. Because in respect to one person, all of us together here, or each one of us together here, is going to have a certain perception or a certain attitude toward one of us here. we are not going to have the same attitude towards the same individual. All of us are going to have different, rather each one of us is going to have a different attitude towards us. So we must investigate. That is reflection. What I've just been doing here is reflection. I'm reflecting as to why I hate this guy. I don't like him. I've got that attitude. Because I know I'm at the stage of attitude. So I go back to the meaning I gave him, and I go back to the belief I gave him, and I go back to information I have and the source of that information. Is that source of information reliable or not? So that is what summarizes the work that we did yesterday. Now, you see, let me not focus on that. We have done now the map of life. So we know the territory called life. We know circumstances, we know response, we know outcome. We know that these are the provinces. These are the things that we deal with. Instead of saying, Mike makes me angry, you're able to say, what is it in me that makes me angry about what Mike is doing? Instead of just saying Mike is angry. So now I can reflect now, because I've got the framework within which I can reflect. And reflection, and anybody who does not reflect in their lives cannot reinvent themselves. And anybody who cannot reinvent himself or herself is going to decay. As simple as that. So that reflection is very useful, but reflection must have a framework. And this is the kind of framework that we have to find out exactly why I have that attitude. And you can find that, you can find out where you were, what stage you are at every turn. This is the usefulness of this approach of self-mastery and interpersonal skills. You reflect upon yourself and you reflect upon your environment, including people. And the people and the environment, the first thing in the environment is people. Because if things are done by people, things that make you angry are done by people. You see, my language also is changing, things that make you angry. I'm doing that deliberately so I can marry with you at some point and change the perception that we have. Now, we know the territory, but when I drive from here to Petersburg, my car, the car outside here, can get stuck along the way. If I know how a car works, the engine and all that, petrol and everything, if I know how it works, even if I have a smattering of the knowledge about how it works, when I do get stuck, I won't remain in that same position for a very long time. But if I don't know anything about how a car works, when it gets stuck, I'll be there for a longer time and wait for the AA to come to me or call my cousin to come and help me with the car. So knowledge, therefore, is very, very important. And in this case, self-knowledge, because I am the car that drives around the place called life. This is the car. Do I drive the car myself, or I allow other people to drive the car? If I allow other people to drive the car, I'm going to crash. The car is going to crash. So I must make sure that all the time, this car called Mike Mwendani is driven by Mike Mwendani all the time. Yes, other people can give me directions. When I park, so move this way, move this way, but I am the one that is following these directions. And I decide to follow these directions or not. So this is how we must perceive ourselves. But too much, we allow other people to drive our car. We say, Mike makes me angry. If someone makes you angry, it is like taking you from this position to that position. Mike has put you in that position. What has Mike done? Mike has driven you from that to that. That's what it means. And are you going to allow it? Are you going to be angry? Does he deserve your anger anyway? He doesn't. He might say whatever he says. You decide whether to go along that way. If he says it's selfish, then you're going to ask, oh, he says I'm selfish, why have I been selfish? You know, this guy is swearing at me, and then you cry. But you see, the attitude that I would take, that you must take, is that when he says those things, that you are selfish, you are arrogant, and all those things, it's just like saying, you are Mike. He's giving you an identity. My identity is Mike. So when you say Mike to me, then you are actually talking to me and about me. I am Mike. You are Mike. But when a person says, you are selfish, he's giving a different identity. Instead of saying you are Mike, you will say you are Mary. I'm not married by any stretch of imagination. So when a person says that construction, you are, describes an identity. But is that your identity? Is what you accept of yourself that you are selfish? Are you not sure? When you cry and a person says you are selfish and you cry, you complain, it means you are not sure whether you are selfish or not. You are not John, you are Mike. That's it. You are not selfish, you are gracious. That's who I am. I'm gracious, and I'm empathetic, I'm reasonable, I'm kind, because that's what I'm trying to do in this life. Now stick to the car that you drive. So that is why self-knowledge is very necessary. When you do get stuck, getting stuck is like having stress, like having depression, like feeling embarrassed, like feeling ridiculed, like feeling that you are in a risky situation. So you have these identities that you accept for yourself. So you get stuck because you are not moving according to your identity. But if you know yourself, this car, you can stop at that point and find out what is wrong in this car, like you would with a normal car. Find out what is wrong and fix it, and then move on. Even without the help of other people. But some other things, of course, need help. Like when you're in depression, you need help. You cannot move yourself out of a depression. Quite. So you need a counselor to counsel you. You need people to give you drugs. I don't like drugs, but I'm just mentioning one of the options that they would use to move you out of a depression. So it is necessary, therefore, self-knowledge. You cannot do without self-knowledge. Because when you get stuck, you are not going to come out of that.